Attention everyone. Hit pause on whatever occupies your screen, especially the legions of die-hard supporters tuning in from Manila to Davao and every corner of the globe. We are broadcasting live, and folks, we are not just watching a game, we are witnessing the unfolding of a legacy in real time. If you have yet to lay eyes on the footage that is currently incinerating the algorithms on every major platform from TikTok to X, you are effectively operating in the dark. You are overlooking the single most vital component explaining Alexandra Eala's explosive trajectory into the 2026 season. It is great to have you with us. Today's coverage transcends simple match analysis. We are documenting a total physiological reinvention. We are discussing a seismic shift that has sent tremors through the entire WTA 500 field in Abu Dhabi before a single racket has even made contact with a ball on the center court. The headlines are massive and impossible to ignore. Alexandra Eala takes on Zeynep Sonmez in the round of 32. The action goes down today, February 2nd, 2026. But the narrative dominating the airwaves is something else entirely. The story that has elite coaches and data analysts scrutinizing a specific 30-second clip on repeat is not about grip changes or serve placement. It is squarely focused on a terrifying physical evolution that spells absolute trouble for anyone standing on the other side of the net. We are referring, of course, to the Plyometrics video that has gone viral. You have seen the jaw-dropping thumbnails. You have read the captions. They are calling it Spartan Discipline, the Rafa Nadal Blueprint, and Eala version 2.0. But what unfolds today is the ultimate proof of concept. The Filipino phenomenon, fresh off achieving a career-defining ranking of world number 45. And let that sink in. Number 45 arrives in Abu Dhabi, not as the scrappy contender we once knew, but as a legitimate, physical juggernaut. Let us properly set the scene, because the energy here is absolutely crackling with anticipation. We are live from the United Arab Emirates for the Abu Dhabi Open, a prestigious WTA 500 event where the stakes are incredibly high. The financial rewards are life-altering, and the tournament bracket is unforgiving, but Alex Eala has landed with a massive target on her back and a dangerous new tool in her kit. That weapon is her lower body strength. It is the explosive kinetic chain reaction vividly displayed in that training clip that dropped online just a few days ago. In that footage, which we intend to break down with surgical precision later in this segment, we witnessed a version of Alex Eala that was non-existent 2 years ago. We observed box jumps that seemed to mock the laws of gravity. We watched lateral bounding drills executed with such ferocity and velocity that it implies her ability to cover the court has improved tenfold. The internet pundits are dubbing it the Eala hop, but let us be honest about the reality. This is the dividend of months of grueling silent torture in the weight room when no one was watching. And now Zeynep Sonmez, the resilient warrior from Turkey, who recently etched her own name in the history books at the Australian Open, must solve this new puzzle. Why is the tennis community in such a state of shock? Because for years, the only criticism leveled against Eala was never about her hands or her tennis IQ. She possesses that golden lefty touch and understands the geometry of the court. She carries the prestigious pedigree of the Rafa Nadal Academy in her DNA. The lingering question, the hushed whisper in the locker rooms was always, can she physically endure a grueling third set against heavy hitters like Sabalenka or Rybakina? That viral training video was her definitive response. It was a loud statement and a warning shot fired across the bow of the entire WTA tour. The message was clear. I am no longer just a technician. I am a supreme athlete. I am a machine. And the timing of this revelation is cinematic. She squares off against Zeynep Sonmez today, and it would be a fatal error to overlook the threat Sonmez poses. The Turkish star arrives fresh from the performance of a lifetime in Melbourne, having reached the third round of the Australian Open, shattering predictions and proving she shines under the brightest lights. Sonmez currently sits at ranking 112, but do not let that triple-digit number deceive you. She was inside the top 70 just last year and remains incredibly dangerous. She is gritty, determined, and aware of their history. They have clashed twice before, with Eala emerging victorious both times. But those matches predate Sonmez's breakthrough down under. Those victories happened before Sonmez proved she possessed the firepower to dismantle heavy hitters like Ekaterina Alexandrova. So here we stand at the edge of a confrontation that signifies much more than a simple ticket to the round of 16. For Alex Eala, this represents the inaugural test of her elevated status as the world number 45, a ranking that carries significant expectations. That number signifies that victory is no longer a hope but a requirement. It means you have graduated from promising junior to the favorite. Can she shoulder that burden? Can she translate that viral gym strength into closing out a match against a dogged and relentless competitor like Sonmez? The entire nation of the Philippines is tuning in. Turkey is watching closely, and the global tennis community is fixated. Expert analysts are frantically updating their predictive models because the Alexandra Eala, who touched down in Abu Dhabi, appears different. She walks with a new swagger. And if that viral footage is any accurate indicator, she moves with a completely different engine. We are looking at a player who has seemingly cracked the code to modern athletic physicality overnight. This is far more than a standard match update. This is a forensic examination of a superstar ascending during the most pivotal chapter of her career. We are going to deconstruct the science behind her training regimen and analyze the tactical nightmare she presents to Sonmez. We will examine the rankings, calculate the points at stake, review the historical data, and project the future implications. Strap yourselves in because the evolution of Eala is being televised, it is going viral, and it is happening live right now. The shockwaves are undeniable. Let us jump straight into the deep end. To fully grasp the magnitude of this showdown in Abu Dhabi, we must first contextualize exactly where we stand in the timeline of professional tennis history. It is Monday, February 2nd, 2027, and the dust has finally settled on the Australian Open. The so-called Happy Slam is now firmly in the rearview mirror, and the entire tour has shifted gears immediately, heading straight into the grueling Middle East swing. Make no mistake, this is a notoriously difficult transition for every athlete involved. The players are battling severe jet lag after the long haul from down under. They are moving from the humid, scorching summer heat of Melbourne directly into the dry desert conditions of the United Arab Emirates, where the courts play significantly faster and the balls fly through the air with a completely different trajectory. And standing right in the center of this challenging transition, poised to make her mark, is Alexandra Eala. We need to take a deep dive into her trajectory over the last 6 months, because that context is essential to understanding exactly why she is entering today's match as the favorite. But the conclusion of 2026 was nothing short of a fairy tale for Eala. She did not just play tennis during that stretch. She effectively carried the hopes of an entire nation on her shoulders, turning the Southeast Asian Games in Thailand into her own personal coronation. She brought home the gold medal, and while that might sound like a given for a player of her caliber, now we have to remember the immense pressure she was under as the official flag bearer and superstar of the delegation. She delivered that gold for the Philippines, achieving a milestone she had publicly stated was a lifelong dream to bring back to her home country. That victory sparked a fire that she has carried straight into the 2027 season, allowing her to finally crack the top 50 rankings. So let us pause and appreciate the magnitude of that achievement. She is currently sitting at world number 45. For decades, Filipino tennis fans viewed the top 100 as a distant, almost impossible mountain to scale. Yet Eala hasn't just climbed it. She has firmly set up camp halfway up the summit, and a ranking of 45 changes everything because she is now getting direct acceptance into almost every prestigious tournament she puts on her schedule. It means she is now in seeding territory for smaller events, avoiding the qualifying rounds, and it signifies that the level of respect she commands in the locker room has fundamentally shifted. However, with a higher ranking comes a massive target on your back, which leads us directly to her opponent today. If you are only focusing on Eala, you are missing half the story. Zeynep Sonmez is absolutely not a journeyman player to be taken lightly or overlooked in this matchup. She is the pride of Turkish tennis, holding a status very similar to what Eala holds for the Philippines. Sonmez is 23 years old and currently ranked world number 112. But do not let that number deceive you. Back in 2026, she reached a career-high ranking of number 69, so she knows exactly what the intensity of the top 100 feels like. But honestly, it is her spectacular performance at the Australian Open just 2 weeks ago that makes her a terrifying prospect for anyone to face today. In Melbourne, Sonmez did not just show up to participate. She arrived to dominate, reaching the third round, the round of 32 of a Grand Slam, which was a historic moment. By doing so, she became the first Turkish woman to go that deep in the Melbourne draw, taking down Ekaterina Alexandrova, who is known as a massive hitter on the tour. She also defeated Anna Bondar before eventually falling to Julia Penka. But in that run, she proved beyond a shadow of a doubt that she belongs on the big stage. Sonmez is a fighter. There is a specific story from her run at the Australian Open that perfectly defines her character and sportsmanship. During her intense match against Alexandrova, a ball kid collapsed on the court due to the extreme heat. Sonmez did not wait for the umpire to intervene, nor did she wait for the medics to arrive. She immediately stopped play, rushed over to the child and personally helped her into the shade. That action tells you everything you need to know about the kind of human being she is. But from a competitive standpoint, it also highlights her awareness. She is present, grounded, and not easily rattled by chaos, with a game style built entirely on grit. She is a right-hander standing at 5'7" with a rock-solid two-handed backhand. She does not possess the towering height of an Aryna Sabalenka, so she relies heavily on elite movement consistency and counterpunching. She has an uncanny ability to absorb pace, taking the power of her opponents and redirecting it with precision. On hard courts like the ones here in Abu Dhabi, she is incredibly dangerous because she forces you to play one extra ball every time. Every single point against Sonmez turns into a brutal war of attrition. Now, let us address the elephant in the room regarding Eala, the training video, specifically the Plyometrics clip that has gone absolutely viral across social media. You might ask, why does a simple video of a tennis player jumping on boxes matter so much, and why is the entire tennis world currently in a state of shock? Historically, tennis was viewed as a game of hand skills and touch, but the modern game, the game played by icons like Iga Swiatek and Coco Gauff, is a game defined by explosive movement. It is all about that first step, and the video circulating online shows Eala performing what is technically known as contrast training. In the footage, we see her performing heavy resistance exercises, which are followed immediately by explosive, unweighted jumps to activate fast-twitch muscle fibers. We see her executing lateral box jumps, pushing off one leg with incredible force to land on a high platform sideways. Here is the biomechanical breakdown of why this is both shocking and vital. It is about the rate of force development, or RFD. The video clearly shows Eala minimizing her ground contact time. The moment she lands, she explodes upward instantly, and in a tennis match, this translates directly to the efficiency of the split step. When an opponent hits the ball, Eala splits, and if her RFD is higher, she launches out of that split and gets to the corner significantly faster than before. This footage proves she has significantly increased her twitch muscle response. But we also need to talk about deceleration because the video highlights her landing mechanics as well. Tennis is not just about running fast, it is about stopping fast, so you can set up for the next shot. If you can stop in one step instead of three, you recover to the center of the court faster. And Eala's ability in the video suggests her core and glute strength have reached an elite level. This is the Nadal influence in action. We know she trains at the Rafa Nadal Academy, and this specific training regimen is pure Rafa. It is about violence of action and building a body that can withstand the extreme torque required by the modern forehand. The shock for fans comes from the visual difference. Eala has always been lean, but in this new footage, she looks undeniably powerful. Her quadriceps look denser, and her balance appears absolute, which directly addresses the biggest criticism she faced in 2026, that she could be overpowered by big hitters. You simply cannot overpower a player who is fast enough to get her full body weight behind every single defensive ball, and that is the new reality Eala brings to the court. This isn't just a training video. It is a clear declaration that the days of Alexandra Eala playing a purely defensive game are officially over, as she has completely re-engineered her physique to focus on aggressive counterattacking tennis. But the burning question on everyone's mind is simple. How exactly does all this intense gym work translate to the actual hard courts of Abu Dhabi when she faces Zeynep Sonmez? Let's dive into the tale of the tape with their head-to-head history where they have clashed twice before. Back in November 2023, at the ITF event in France, Eala scraped out a victory with a 7-6, 6-4 scoreline in a very tight, straight sets battle. Fast forward to June 2026 at Eastbourne, and it was a completely different story on the grass, where Eala absolutely dismantled her 6-1, 6-3, giving the Filipina a commanding 2-0 lead in their rivalry. From a psychological standpoint, this provides a massive edge. Eala steps onto the court, knowing she possesses the blueprint to win, while Sonmez is burdened with the knowledge that she has never managed to take down Eala. However, we have to be careful because the trap game element here is very real. Sonmez is playing significantly better tennis now than she was during the grass season, and she is riding a wave of confidence from her recent Grand Slam appearances. When we look at the matchup dynamics, Eala, being a lefty, is her eternal ace in the hole as her cross-court forehand naturally flows directly into the Sonmez backhand, creating constant pressure. That said, Sonmez possesses an incredibly rock-solid two-handed backhand. so the match will likely be decided by the war between Eala's heavy topspin forehand and Sonmez's ability to flatten that ball out and redirect it down the line. With Eala's newfound viral agility and movement, you should expect her to be much more aggressive and proactive on the return of serve than we have seen in the past. This is a crucial tactical point because Sonmez does not possess one of the biggest or most overpowering serves on the tour right now. If that intense plyometric training has truly sharpened Eala's first step explosiveness, she is going to step well inside the baseline to punish those second serves. But the real danger she faces is maintaining her consistency while doing so. You can bet that Sonmez is not going to hand out any free gifts. She is going to force Eala to hit 10, 12, or even 15 quality shots just to secure a single point. If Eala gets impatient and tries to end points too quickly, or if she tries to muscle the ball just because she feels physically stronger, she is going to rack up unforced errors. So the name of the game is controlled aggression. She needs to utilize those powerful new legs to get into the perfect position, but she must rely on her veteran tennis IQ to actually construct the point intelligently. We also cannot ignore the massive macro narrative unfolding here, as the Philippines has simply never had a tennis player ranked this high in the history of the sport. Every single time she steps onto the court these days, she is charting completely unknown territory. And since the Abu Dhabi Open is a WTA 500 event, the ranking points up for grabs are absolutely enormous. A victory in this round would catapult her into the round of 16, likely setting up a clash against a seeded titan, and this is exactly where she cuts her teeth and proves her worth. This is the moment where she proves that being ranked 45 in the world is not a fluke, but rather a solid stepping stone on her journey to the top 30. We all remember that the Manila homecoming at the WTA 125 recently was a bittersweet pill to swallow. Losing in the quarterfinals to Osorio clearly hurt, and you could see the disappointment written all over her face. However, I truly believe that specific loss might have been the necessary fuel that ignited the fire for this Spartangent-like training block we are currently witnessing. She realized that to dominate at home and to win consistently on the main tour, she needed to find another gear, and this match against Sonmez serves as the grand debut of that new level. To summarize the situation perfectly, we are staring down the barrel of a perfect storm brewing right here in the desert. On one side of the net, we have Zeynep Sonmez, a Turkish history maker in her own right, coming in fresh off the most impressive Grand Slam run of her entire life. She is gritty, determined, and absolutely starving for revenge against a player she has never beaten, fighting tooth and nail to break back into the top 100, and she views this match as her gateway. Then on the other side of the net, we have Alexandra Eala, the golden girl of the Philippines, and the current world number 45. But more importantly, we are looking at Eala version 2.0, the upgraded athlete who has gone viral specifically for her insane plyometric prowess. This is a version of the player who has spent the entire offseason building a heavy-duty chassis capable of carrying a Ferrari engine, and the shock value mentioned in this video's title is certainly not just clickbait. It is the genuine stunned reaction of the global tennis community as we watch a young prodigy evolve right before our very eyes. We are witnessing the real-time transition from raw potential to lethal potency, and the keys to watching this match are actually quite simple. Keep your eyes glued to Eala's feet and watch that first step closely. Ask yourself if she looks faster and if she is recovering back to the center of the court quicker than before. If that viral training video is the truth, Sonmez is in for a very long and very painful day at the office. But we must remember that tennis is played on a rectangular court, not on a spreadsheet. Eala still has to go out there and execute. She has to manage the nerves that come with being the favorite, and she has to handle the heavy, humid air of Abu Dhabi. This feels like the beginning of the rest of her career because while being in the top 50 is safe, breaking into the top 20 is the ultimate goal. And the road to that elite top 20 goes directly through Zeynep Sonmez right here, right now, so make sure you are subscribed to catch the action. Make sure you have your notifications turned on because we will be covering every single set, breaking down every breakpoint, and analyzing every controversial call. The evolution of Alexandra Eala is hands down the most exciting story happening in Asian tennis right now, and you do not want to miss a single chapter of this saga. The plyometrics are finished, the training block is over, and the viral videos have been liked and shared. Now it is time to play.